The canyon walls closed in like a stone trap. Lieutenant Marcus Harris pressed his back against cold granite, winter wind cutting through his tactical gear. Above, indifferent stars watched 8 men prepare to die. Contacts, 11 o'clock. Petty Officer Jensen's whisper came through the earpiece. Harris didn't need the update. He could see shadows moving with purpose along the ridgeline. At least a dozen fighters working to flank them. 6 hours ago, the mission seemed simple. Extract Daniel Reeves, a journalist broadcasting from a remote village when insurgents arrived. Intelligence reported 8 to 10 combatants. Easy work. Intelligence was catastrophically wrong. Actual to all units. Hold fire, Harris ordered. His voice stayed steady despite the ice in his gut. Around him, 7 SEALs maintained discipline, weapons tracking targets they couldn't afford to engage. Not yet. They'd lost communications 40 minutes ago. An RPG had obliterated their satellite uplink in the ambush's opening seconds. Then their UAV support vanished. Harris watched tracer fire destroy the drone feed. Now they were alone. 8 operators in a kill box. Sir, I count 39 thermal signatures, Chief Petty Officer Sarah Chen reported, her voice clinical. 9 years with DevGru taught her when odds crossed from terrible to impossible. 3-point assault pattern. Professional coordination. Harris crawled to her position, peering through the thermal scope. The canyon lit up with white-hot shapes in a tightening crescent. These weren't militia. Someone had trained them, equipped them, set the perfect trap. 10 minutes until they're in effective range, Chen said. Harris studied the terrain. Scattered boulders offered minimal cover. The walls were too steep to climb under fire. Behind them, the passage dead-ended. They'd been herded like cattle to slaughter. Petty Officer Rodriguez appeared, blood seeping through his thigh bandage. We could break through the south approach. Into a crossfire, Harris said. They'd cut us down in 20 meters. Then what's the play? Harris met Rodriguez's eyes. The kid was 26, married 3 months to Emily, a kindergarten teacher. Harris had attended the wedding, watched them dance under string lights while promises of forever hung in summer air. We hold. Make them pay for every meter. Both men knew the truth. No one was coming. A flare burst overhead, brilliant magnesium turning night to day. The canyon exposed completely every position, every SEAL frozen in pitiless light. Harris heard weapons charging from 36 locations. Here they come, Chen whispered. Boots sounds echoed between walls. Harris counted 15 fighters advancing from the east, moving with confidence born of overwhelming superiority. More shadows materialized, reinforcements revealing themselves. Harris checked his weapon. 30 rounds, 31 bullets against 39 enemies. The math was brutal. Beside him, Petty Officer Carter whispered into his recorder, leaving a message for his 8-year-old daughter. Sweetheart, if you're hearing this, Daddy's not coming home. I love you more than anything. Be good for Mommy. Remember, heroes aren't people who never feel afraid. Heroes do the right thing even when they're scared. The words cut deeper than bullets. These men were about to die because he'd led them into a trap. Sir, Chen handed him a plastic bag, letters, photos, dog tags, from the team. In case someone recovers our bodies. Harris took it, feeling weight multiply beyond physics. 7 lives. 7 families receiving folded flags and empty promises. We're not dead yet, he said. No sir, not yet. The first volley arrived like steel rain. Bullets sparked granite, whining into darkness as stone chips became shrapnel. Harris pressed flat, feeling percussion waves throb through his chest. Return fire, controlled bursts, he ordered. 7 rifles answered in disciplined 3-round bursts. A scream echoed from the ridge. Someone's shot found flesh. Small victory, meaningless against their odds. Matthews is hit. Jensen's voice cracked. Harris crawled through gravel to where Specialist Nathan Matthews lay gasping, blood spreading across his chest plate. The round found the armor gap, bad luck or exceptional shooting. Chen was already working, pressure dressing in hand. Punctured lung, needs immediate evac. Harris keyed his radio, knowing futility. Any station, urgent casualty requiring medevac. Position compromised. Static answered. He tried again, nothing. Matthews grabbed his wrist, red bubbles at his lips. Did it go through? Harris looked at the exit wound and lied. Help's coming. Hang on. Tell Jennifer. Sorry about the kitchen remodel. Tell her yourself. But Matthews's eyes were glazing, focusing beyond the canyon walls. His breathing shallowed, then stopped. Chen checked for pulse, held 10 seconds, slowly shook her head. Harris closed Matthews's eyes, removed his tags with trembling fingers. The metal was still warm. 7 now. Another flare burst. In burning light, attackers had advanced 50 meters, using fire and movement tactics that spoke of military training. They weren't rushing, time was theirs. Destroy sensitive materials, Harris ordered. He pulled out his notebook containing after-action reports and Sarah's phone number. A Portland school teacher who wrote letters smelling like vanilla, talked about futures that would never arrive. He fed it to thermite, watching paper curl and blacken, watching possibilities dissolve. Rodriguez appeared, face grim. 4 magazines per person, 200 rounds total. Make each count. That's not enough. I know. Every man writes letters now. Around him, SEALs pulled out notebooks. Jensen wrote furiously, tears tracking through dust. Carter stared at his daughter's photo. Rodriguez clutched his wife's letter, reading one final time. Harris wrote to his mother. Mom, I did everything I could. I'm sorry about your birthday, about Alaska, about teaching you computers, about walking you down the aisle if you'd remarried. The guys with me are the best. We're not afraid. Love you always, Marcus. He sealed it in plastic, tucked it in his vest where someone might find his body. Sir? Chen appeared, voice low. This is it, isn't it? Harris looked at his chief, this woman who'd saved his life in Ramadi, Yemen, who'd pulled him from a burning vehicle in Kandahar and carried him 300 meters under fire. Maybe. But we don't make it easy. Never do. She gripped his shoulder. It's been an honor, Marcus. Likewise, Sarah. Automatic fire stitched their position, forcing them apart. Through rock gaps, Harris saw shadows advancing in rushes. Professional, inexorable. Rodriguez crawled over, fresh blood through his bandage. Sir, if I draw fire, negative, we stay together. That's an order. Your wife doesn't need to hear you threw your life away. She needs to hear you fought with brothers until the end. Rodriguez nodded, understanding the mercy. Movement, northwest, Carter called. They're flanking. Harris peered through thermal. 6 fighters working through a ravine, moving to get behind them, classic pincer. Jensen, Carter, engage. Everyone else, watch front. 2 rifles barked, one attacker down, then another. The rest scattered, but the surprise was gone. How long can we hold? Rodriguez asked. Harris checked his watch, 0247 hours. As long as it takes. For what? No one's coming. Harris looked at his team wounded, exhausted, faces streaked with dirt and blood. Maybe someone's watching. Maybe someone sees us. Desperate hope. But pressed against cold stone with death advancing, even desperate hopes felt better than none. The assault came from 3 directions. Muzzle flashes lit the canyon like hellfire as 39 rifles opened coordinated barrage. The sound was overwhelming, not shots but sustained roar making thought impossible. Harris fired at shapes, at flashes, at movement. His rifle kicked in familiar rhythm, brass tinkling on stone. Beside him, Chen worked her weapon with precision, counting rounds even facing death. Grenade. The explosive tumbled through darkness. Jensen dove as it detonated, shrapnel whining through his former position. He scrambled back, left arm hanging, blood streaming from wounds. I'm okay. Still fighting. But they were losing ground. Harris felt the slow compression as enemy fire forced them tighter. Soon they'd bunch so close, one grenade would end them all. Sir, we need to move, Rodriguez shouted. Where? Show me. Rodriguez looked desperately but found no answer. Canyon walls were sheer, rear passage dead-ended. Advancing meant suicide. Harris pulled thermal optics, scanning perimeter. His blood froze. The enemy had formed textbook encirclement, positions overlapping for interlocking fire. Professional tactics. Close enough now to see individual faces, bearded men in tactical gear. Night vision equipment worth thousands, moving with predator confidence. Ammunition status, Harris ordered. Chen surveyed quickly. 90 rounds total. Jensen's down to 1 mag. Carter's weapon jammed. 90 rounds. Against 30+ combatants. Harris keyed radio one last time. Any station, Sierra 1-6. Critically low ammunition. Heavy casualties. Request immediate support. Static. Anyone, please. Nothing. He pulled his notebook again, wrote final words. I tried. We all tried. Tell Jennifer Matthews that Nathan loved her. Tell Rodriguez's wife Emily her husband died protecting brothers. Tell them we went down fighting. Sir, they're grouping, Carter called. Through binoculars, Harris watched fighters clustering, preparing for final assault. They were done being cautious. Now they'd overwhelm through sheer force. This is it, Harris said quietly. The big push. How do we play it? Chen asked. Harris checked his magazine 11 rounds and decided. Full automatic. Burn everything. Make every second cost them. When we're empty? Harris drew his Sig Sauer P-226, then sidearms. When those run dry, he pulled his knife. We make them earn it. 6 SEALs checked weapons one final time. No words needed. They trained for this their whole careers, hoped it would never come. Another flare burst, washing the canyon in cold light. Harris could see clearly every position, every weapon, every face of men who would kill him in minutes. He thought about his mother in Vermont, about Matthews's widow, about Rodriguez's wife raising their baby alone, about Carter's daughter remembering her father only through photographs. On my mark, he said, we rush south, full auto, everything. If we're going out, we go out like SEALs. Hooah, came quiet responses. Harris raised his hand for the signal. Through his earpiece, Jensen breathing hard, Carter praying, Rodriguez saying Emily's name. The flare faded. Harris lowered his hand to give the order, sending them all to honorable deaths. Then, a single shot cracked through night, sharp, precise, from an impossible direction. Everything changed. The sound was wrong. Harris knew weapons like musicians know notes. Every rifle had its signature. This wasn't any gun his team carried. High-pitched, precise, followed by strange quiet spreading like ripples. Then screaming. Harris spun, raising optics. Through night vision green, he watched a figure crumple the machine gunner, anchoring the eastern approach. The man fell backward, weapon clattering down rocks. Who took that shot? Harris demanded. Silence. Then Jensen, not me. Negative. From Carter. Wasn't us, Chen confirmed. Harris's mind raced. The angle was wrong. The shot came from above and behind enemy position, from terrain nearly vertical, accessible only by technical climbing gear they didn't have. Did anyone? Another shot. Different location, same crack. Through his scope, a second fighter jerked and fell, positioned 30 meters from the first casualty. 2 kills, 2 shots, 2 seconds. Someone else is out there, Rodriguez whispered. Enemy fighters noticed too. Confusion spread like disease weapons, swinging randomly, formations breaking, men seeking cover from threats they couldn't locate. Panic needed no translation. A third shot. The communications officer with the radio dropped instantly. Harris tracked the trajectory backward, searching for muzzle flash. Found nothing, just darkness and stone. Sir, that's elite shooting, Chen said. World class, who's out there? Don't know, but they're buying time. Harris keyed his team. Check fire, conserve ammunition. Let's see this play out. Enemy was in full confusion. Men advancing confidently moments ago were pinned, trying to identify threats from impossible angles. Some fired randomly, tracers arcing into empty air. A fourth shot dropped their commander, a tall man directing with hand signals. He fell silent, and Harris saw discipline evaporate, as subordinates lost leadership. They're picking targets strategically, Jensen said quietly, nursing his arm, only killing the ones who matter. He was right. Not random shooting but strategic elimination, machine gunners, officers, specialists, each shot degrading capability with surgical precision. Harris raised thermal scope, scanning the ridgeline. Even with enhanced optics, he saw nothing. No heat signature, no movement. Bullets materialized from air. Ghost shooter, Carter muttered. Like Afghanistan stories. The sniper who worked alone. That was legend, Rodriguez said. Another shot proved him wrong. Then another. The pace increased, one shooter maintaining tempo that shouldn't be possible. Either superhuman or they'd prepared multiple positions, moving with practiced efficiency. Harris decided. All units, Prepare to advance. If this shooter's giving us opening, we take it. Wounded stay. Chen, Rodriguez, security. Everyone else, push to those boulders, 50 meters southeast. Sir, we don't know who's shooting, Jensen protested. Could be another faction. They've dropped 7 hostiles targeting us. I'll take mysterious allies over certain death. The snipers sensed their intention. Firing rate increased dramatically. 3 rapid shots, each finding marks. Enemy fighters dove for cover. Assault stalled. Now, move! 4 SEALs burst from cover, sprinting in combat bounds. Harris expected return fire, expected his team cut down. Instead, every enemy who raised a weapon took a bullet before triggering. It was the most remarkable protective Overwatch Harris ever witnessed. The unseen shooter wasn't just killing, they were actively covering SEAL movement, anticipating threats before they materialized. They reached boulders without casualty. Harris pressed against rock, breathing hard, mind reeling. Sir, I don't understand, Rodriguez panted. Where'd they come from? Jensen's voice crackled. 3 years ago, there was a female sniper with JSOC. Nobody talked much, but rumors said she was different. Kills at impossible ranges. Then she disappeared, went off-grid. And you think, I think we're not alone anymore. Harris peered into darkness, searching for their savior. The shooting paused maybe 10 seconds. Enemies seemed paralyzed, afraid to move, to reveal themselves. One figure broke cover, running desperately. A single shot ended his flight. Message received, Harris murmured. Nobody moves. For the first time in 2 hours, he allowed himself hope. Enemy panic was visible. 32 fighters dropped from 39 in 5 minutes, frozen in positions transformed from offensive to desperate defensive. Hunters became hunted. Harris watched through scope as they tried organizing response. Small groups coordinated, leaders emerged, made hand signals, but every time someone assumed command, another crack split air, and that person fell. The sniper systematically eliminated anyone showing leadership. Whoever she is, Chen said the pronoun when unquestioned. She understands psychology, not just shooting, terrorizing them. True, a conventional sniper would maintain steady pace, maximizing kills. This shooter varied timing, changed positions impossibly fast, made the enemy paranoid. Psychological warfare at its finest. Carter pulled his rangefinder despite broken fingers. Sir, some shots from at least 800 meters. Upward angle, 15-knot wind, darkness, moving targets, exhibition level. Or desperation, Rodriguez countered. Maybe she's trapped too. Then why stay hidden? No one had answers. Harris keyed open frequency, hoping their ally might hear. Unknown shooter, Lieutenant Marcus Harris, U.S. Navy. If you hear me, we're friendlies, improving position. Thank you for assistance. Silence. Then another shot dropped a fighter attempting to flank their new position. Clear message. I see you, I'm protecting you, but no conversation. At least she's got our backs, Jensen muttered. Enemy tried new tactics. 6 fighters broke cover simultaneously, sprinting different directions to confuse targeting. The sniper proved them wrong with supernatural display. 6 shots in 8 seconds, each from slightly different positions by sound. 6 bodies dropped. Harris couldn't process how the shooting was remarkable, but repositioning speed defied physics. Unless multiple shooters. Chief, hearing the same? He asked Chen. She nodded slowly. Different acoustics. She's using 3, maybe 4 prepared positions, pre-calculated firing solutions, cycling between them, creating illusion she's everywhere. How's one person covering that ground? Maybe she's not just good, Chen said quietly. Maybe she's the best there ever was. Enemy reached same conclusion. Discipline collapsed completely. Men abandoned positions, running for exits without coordination. Some threw down weapons. The sniper let them run. No shots followed retreating fighters. Message, leave and live. But 6 men didn't run. 6 hardened fighters who'd been given orders worse than death or possessed courage to face the invisible demon. They gathered, sharing ammunition, preparing final stand. Harris recognized men who decided to die trying. She'll kill them all, Rodriguez said. Probably, but she's giving them choice first. How's that smart? Because the ones who ran will tell stories not about defeat, but about the ghost who let them live if they left. Fear spreads more than bodies. One fighter suddenly shouted a name, a prayer, and charged their position, rifle blazing full automatic. Brave, futile gesture. He made 20 meters before a bullet stopped him forever. The remaining 5 sagged, courage draining. They laid down weapons, raised hands, walked slowly away. No shots followed. "It's over," Jensen whispered. "We're alive." But Harris wasn't watching retreaters. He scanned ridgeline, searching for the person who saved their lives. Thermal scope showed nothing human. "I need to find her," Harris said. "Chen, you've got command. I'm going up." "Sir, not advisable. We don't know intentions. She saved our lives. I need to say thank you." Harris began climbing before anyone could stop him. The ascent was brutal, loose rock, steep angles, handholds crumbling. His wounded leg screamed, but he pushed through pain. 20 minutes to reach the first position. He found brass casings, 14 arranged in a row, deliberately placed. Beside them, carved in stone. "Not all ghosts are dead." Harris stared, feeling the word's weight. Then noticed something else, a dog tag hanging from rock, swaying in wind. He lifted it with shaking hands. Mirelli, AVA. Service number, blood type. Worn, scratched, years of hard use. "Ava," Harris said to empty darkness. "Thank you, Ava." Wind answered, carrying what might be voice or imagination. "You're welcome, Lieutenant." He looked up, caught briefest glimpse, a shape in dark clothing, moving with impossible grace along cliff face that should require gear, then gone, dissolved into shadow and stone. Harris held the tag, feeling its weight, and made choice. He placed it carefully back where he found it, a marker for a ghost who chose to remain invisible. The climb down was harder. Harris's muscles burned, wounded leg, threatening to fail, but his mind replayed those shots, trying to understand who Ava Morelli had been before becoming a ghost. At Canyon Floor, his team organized security. Rodriguez moved to better cover, leg freshly bandaged. Jensen sorted, captured equipment despite wounded arm. Carter had somehow fixed his jammed rifle. Battered but alive, wounded but functional, broken but undefeated. "Sir, see this," Chen called. Harris found her crouched over a fallen fighter. Not dead, chest rising, unconscious from shoulder wound. Clean through and through, missing major arteries. Surgical precision applied to wounding. "She could have killed him," Chen said. "Angle and placement deliberately non-lethal. Why wound? Intel maybe?" "She left us a witness." Chen checked pockets, pulling wallet, ID, notebook in Arabic. "Someone wants us to learn something." Harris looked back at ridgeline, seeing battlefield from Ava's perspective. Perfect overwatch, could have eliminated every hostile. Instead, restraint only shots necessary to break, attack, and preserve his team. "Bag everything," Harris ordered. "If she went to this trouble, we honor it." A groan from their prisoner. The man's eyes opened, focused on Americans. Terror flooded his face, not of death, but something else. "The woman," he gasped in broken English. "She is legend. We were told she was dead." "You know who she is?" Harris demanded. 3 years ago, Syria. She killed 43 of our commanders in 1 month. Never missed, never seen. They called her Malak al-Maut, Angel of Death. He coughed blood. "Our leaders said your military killed her to bury secrets. But she is here. She is alive. She remembers." The implications hit like ice water. Ava Morelli hadn't retired. She'd been burned, erased, marked for death by the people she'd served. And instead of dying quietly, she'd vanished and continued her war. Alone. 3 years. Fighting battles no one would know, saving lives that would never learn her name. "Movement. Southeast Ridge," Carter called. Harris grabbed his rifle, preparing for round 2. But Chen shook her head. "They're running away. Something's chasing them." Through optics, Harris watched 6 fighters scrambling downhill in pure panic, abandoning equipment, throwing away weapons. Not withdrawal, blind flight. No shots followed. But message was clear. This mountain belongs to someone, and that someone wants you gone. "She's clearing the area," Rodriguez said with awe. "Protecting us before evacuation arrives." "If evacuation arrives," Jensen corrected, "we're still dark to command." As if answering, as if Ava heard Harris's radio crackled. Burst transmission punched through jamming. His equipment decoded automatically. Sierra, 1 to 6. This is Guardian Angel. Your beacon is active. Cavalry inbound. Ada 37 minutes. Hold position. End. Guardian Angel, Harris repeated. Her call sign? Or what she's become, Chen said softly. The next 37 minutes felt longer than the firefight. Harris's team tended wounds, collected intelligence weapons, documents, communications equipment, building picture of larger operation. Somewhere above, an invisible protector maintained overwatch. Twice more, enemy fighters attempted approach. Twice more, precision fire drove them back without killing. Consistent message, leave and live. When helicopter rotors finally echoed between walls, Harris felt tension drain. 2 Black Hawks descended in swirling dust, door gunners scanning for threats they'd never engage. Medics jumped out before skids touched ground. Lieutenant Harris, a major approached. Sir, what happened? We lost your signal 3 hours. Command was writing you off as Kia. Ran into ambush. 39 hostiles, professional coordination. We took casualties, but held until help arrived. The major looked at bodies scattered across the kill zone. Abandoned weapons, signs of chaos. 7 of you held off 39? Not exactly, sir. Harris met his eyes. We had help. Unexpected assistance from someone tracking these fighters. From who? No other units in this sector. Harris pulled the captured notebook from his pocket. I think you'll want this for intelligence. And sir, someone needs to look into a JSOC operator named Ava Morelli, officially listed as KIA or missing. Unofficially, she just saved 8 American lives. The major frowned. Morelli? That name. She disappeared 3 years ago after investigating. He stopped, eyes widening. After investigating something classified, they said she was dead. They were wrong, sir. Get your men loaded. We'll sort details at base. But Harris? If Ava Morelli is alive, that's need to know at highest levels. This conversation never happened. Crystal clear. Sir. As Harris helped his team toward helicopters, supporting Rodriguez while Chen coordinated loading, he took one last look at Ridgeline. For just a moment, he thought he saw a figure tall, lean, holding rifle with casual familiarity. Then, gone. Thank you, he whispered to Wind, words lost in rotor wash. No answer came, but as helicopters lifted off, banking away from Death Canyon, Harris could have sworn he saw a brief light flash from High Peak mirror signal, maybe, or scope reflection. Final acknowledgement from a ghost who'd chosen to remain exactly that. 3 days later, Harris's team was cleared for limited duty. They spent time at base gym, attended Matthews's memorial, tried processing what they'd experienced. But Harris couldn't stop thinking about Ava Morelli, alone in mountains. 4th night, radio crackled at 0200. Lieutenant Harris, report to tactical operations immediately. He arrived to find TOC in controlled chaos satellite feeds on multiple screens, officers arguing over maps, radio operators managing 3 conversations. What's happening? Harris asked Major Dyson. Your friends are back, the ones who ambushed you. Dyson pointed to thermal feed showing large group moving through canyon system. 30+ fighters heading for village with American aid workers. They'll hit at dawn. What's our response? 2 teams wheels up in 15. Problem is, fighters know our approach vectors. They've positioned anti-aircraft weapons in valleys we normally use. Dyson clenched his jaw. We'll lose helicopters if we go blind. Harris studied the map, recognition dawning. That's near where we were ambushed. Same terrain, probably same operators. Which is why I'm asking. Any chance your Guardian Angel is still in area? Any way to make contact? It was a desperate question. Harris had no way to contact Ava, no guarantee she was even alive. She was wind and shadow, appearing when and where she chose. But looking at the map, at civilians about to be slaughtered, Harris decided, Sir, request permission to go back out. On foot, ahead of helicopters, alone. If she's watching, and I think she is, maybe I can get her attention. That's insane. You'd be one man against hostile force. I wouldn't be alone, Harris said quietly. I'm betting on it. Dyson studied him, weighing risk against necessity. Finally nodded. 20 minutes. That's all before assault teams launch regardless. Understood. 20 minutes later, Harris was in helicopter racing toward Canyon, alone except crew. They dropped him 3 kilometers from enemy position as false dawn grayed the sky. The helicopter departed, leaving profound silence. He moved quickly through terrain both familiar and alien. GPS led him to rocky outcropping with clear sightlines. Through scope, he could see enemy force moving disciplined, well-armed, heading for the village. Harris pulled signal mirror, began flashing Morse toward high peaks. Friend, need help. Civilians at risk. Nothing answered. Wind rustled, cold and indifferent. He tried again. Ava. Village. They're going to kill innocents. Still nothing. Harris checked watch. 23 minutes until assault teams arrived. 23 minutes for anti-aircraft crews to prepare. He'd made terrible gamble. A rock clattered 10 feet left. Harris spun, rifle ready, to find a woman standing in shadow. Tall, lean, short dark hair, eyes that had seen too much but still held determination. Civilian hiking gear over tactical armor showing field repairs, custom rifles slung across her back. Ava Mirelli, Harris said softly. Lieutenant Marcus Harris, she replied, voice rough from disuse. Careful, you shouldn't be here. Neither should you. She almost smiled. What do you want? Village, 5 kilometers south. American aid, workers, doctors, families, the people you saved us from, they're attacking at dawn. Our helicopter's coming, but they've got anti-air waiting. And you thought I could help? You've been tracking them for weeks. This is personal. Ava was quiet, eyes distant. 3 years ago, I uncovered weapons trafficking, Americans stealing and selling to terrorists. When I reported it, I was told to stand down. When I didn't, they tried to erase me. She looked at Harris. The man who ordered my execution is financing these fighters. His name is Colonel Bradley Vaughn, and he's still operating. Then help us stop them. I'm done following orders. I'm not giving orders. I'm asking. Harris met her eyes. You saved my team. Let me help you finish this. Ava studied him, weighing trust against betrayal. Finally nodded. Anti-aircraft positions here, here, and here. She pointed to his map. I can take out crews, but I'll need your teams to push through immediately. Timing has to be perfect. Give me 2 minutes. Harris keyed radio. Actual, Sierra 1-6. I have asset with current intel on enemy positions. Prepare to receive targeting data. Dyson's voice crackled back. Confirm you have reliable intelligence. Most reliable possible, sir. Trust me. A pause. Then, send it. Ava moved to higher ground, settling into shooting position with practiced ease. Harris fed coordinates to assault teams, watching through binoculars as she made minute scope adjustments. 3 targets, she said quietly. 600 meters, 800, and nearly 1,000. Variable wind, terrible angles. I need to drop all 3 within 30 seconds, or your helicopters become flying coffins. Can you do it? We'll find out. Ava chambered around. Tell them 60 seconds after my first shot, not 59, not 61, exactly 60. Harris relayed timing. In distance, he heard helicopters approaching, beautiful, terrifying sound of rotors cutting through dawn. 60 seconds confirmed, he said. Ava exhaled slowly, body going perfectly still. Then squeezed the trigger. The first anti-aircraft position died before knowing danger existed. Harris watched through binoculars as the gunner slumped forward, crew scrambling in confusion. 7 seconds later, Ava's second shot dropped the crew chief at position 2. She was repositioning, moving with fluid grace to different angle. Third target was hardest entrenched behind sandbags, partially concealed. Harris lost sight of her momentarily, then spotted her silhouette against lightning sky. The shot seemed impossible. Nearly a kilometer, severe upward angle, target mostly in cover. But Ava wasn't aiming for the gunner, she aimed for the ammunition box beside him. The explosion was spectacular. All units, actual, you're clear to engage. 2 Black Hawks screamed over ridgeline, door gunners laying, suppressing fire. Behind them, 4-vehicle convoy raced up valley, disgorging SEALs and Rangers moving with lethal efficiency. Enemy force, already demoralized, broke almost immediately. Some fired wildly, some ran, some surrendered. More rout than battle. 39 fighters, reduced to disorganized individuals trying to survive. Harris watched Ava work throughout engagement. She wasn't indiscriminately killing, she provided precision overwatch, taking only shots necessary to protect Americans or prevent escape. Each bullet was calculated decision, each target chosen for maximum tactical impact. In 12 minutes, it was over. Village secure, enemy fighters dead or captured, American casualties limited to minor injuries. Sierra 1-6, outstanding work, Dyson's voice came through. Keep that source close. Harris looked where Ava had been positioned. Already gone, leaving only casings and cordite scent. He found her 200 meters away, breaking down her rifle, packing it in weatherproof case. Up close, Harris could see the toll 3 years took: new scars, weathered skin, eyes carrying permanent wariness. The village is safe, he said, thanks to you. Thanks to both of us. Ava secured her case. Your teams did well. What happens now? Just disappear again? That's the plan. Ava Harris chose words carefully. What you're doing, alone, isn't sustainable. Eventually luck runs out. Let me help you come in from the cold. We can protect you, get support. Like they protected me before? Ava's laugh was bitter. I found evidence, I reported it. 24 hours later, my team was ambushed, 3 operators died, and I barely escaped. Someone in our system wanted me silenced. Coming back means trusting the same people who tried to kill me. Not everyone is compromised. Can you prove that? Can you guarantee I won't end up in unmarked grave the moment I step on American soil? She shook her head. I can't take that risk. Out here, alone, at least I control my fate. Harris wanted to argue but couldn't. She was right, he had no guarantees. Then, let me do this, he said finally. Let me be your connection. You need intel, supplies, anything, you contact me. Encrypted channel, no official records. I owe you my life and my team's lives. Let me repay that debt. Ava considered this, conflict playing across her face. Finally pulled out a small device, specialized satellite communicator with military encryption. This frequency, every Wednesday at 2,200 hours. If I need something, I'll reach out. But Harris, if this ever gets traced back, if supporting me risks you, you burn everything and forget we met. Understood? Understood. They shook hands, soldiers, acknowledging a pact outside official structures. One more thing, Ava said. The man who orchestrated my burning is Colonel Bradley Vaughn, currently stationed at CENTCOM, still trafficking weapons, still profiting from death. Someone needs to stop him. I'll look into it. Carefully. Do more than look. Build a case that can't be ignored. Because if people like Vaughn keep operating with impunity, there's no point to any of this. She gestured at battlefield. Bodies. Dawn over mountains that had seen too much blood. Harris nodded. I'll make it my mission. Good. Ava shouldered her pack. Tell your team the Angel of Death says they fought well. Tell them some ghosts are friendly. She turned to leave, but Harris called, Ava, thank you for everything. She looked back, hard edges softening momentarily. You're welcome, Marcus. Try not to get ambushed again. Then she was gone, moving through terrain like smoke, leaving no trace. Harris stood alone as helicopters circled, as his team secured the area. As another day began, he looked down at the encrypted communicator, feeling its weight, understanding the responsibility. He'd made a promise, now he had to keep it. The next 3 months blurred with debriefings, missions, and careful investigation. Harris requested transfer to intelligence analysis, unusual for field operator, but approved given his combat experience. Colonel Bradley Vaughn's record was exemplary on paper. 23 years service, multiple commendations, rapid promotion, efficiency reports, praised his leadership, strategic thinking, mission dedication. But Harris knew how to read between lines, spot patterns in deployment schedules and equipment requisitions that didn't align. He worked carefully, building file brick by brick, purchase orders not matching inventory, weapons shipments to allies that never arrived, financial transactions to shell companies leading nowhere, equipment losses attributed to combat on days no combat occurred. Each piece alone meant nothing. Together, they painted systematic corruption. Every Wednesday at 2,200 hours, Harris's encrypted communicator came alive. Sometimes Ava needed supplies, ammunition, medical gear, cold weather clothing. Sometimes, She provided intelligence about enemy movements, tactical information arriving too precisely to be coincidence. Sometimes, she just checked in. "How's the investigation?" she asked during one check-in. "Solid circumstantial evidence, but nothing court-martial worthy. He's been careful." 3 years, Harris. 3 years I've waited for someone to care about truth. I care. But I need to do this right. Pause filled with static and frustration. Then, there's a shipment Tuesday. Weapons supposedly going to Iraqi security. Check routing paperwork against GPS data. You'll find they're taking a detour. How do you know? Because I've been tracking Vaughn's operations 3 years. I know his patterns, contacts, methods. This shipment is big anti-tank missiles, encrypted comms, enough firepower to outfit a militant cell. If you can document the diversion, you've got him. Harris made careful notes. And if he's suspicious, if it's a trap, then we both go down fighting. Dark humor in her voice. Wouldn't be the worst way to end this. Tuesday arrived cold and rainy. Harris, with carefully selected team from Inspector General's office people he'd vetted, positioned to observe the convoy. Officially, random security audit. Unofficially, culmination of months investigating and years of Ava's tracking. The convoy departed on schedule, following approved route initially. GPS tracks matched filed plans perfectly. Then, as Ava predicted, they diverted small roads, minimal checkpoints, heading for border. Harris documented everything. GPS coordinates with timestamps, photos with metadata, manifests not matching cargo. When convoy reached abandoned warehouse and began unloading to unmarked vehicles driven by men in terrorist databases, he had everything needed. The arrest happened fast, coordinated between military police and federal agents. Drivers detained, weapons secured, and Colonel Vaughn taken into custody at his office. Harris watched from distance, feeling not triumph but weary satisfaction. Justice was slow, imperfect, but could still function when people cared enough. That Wednesday, he reported to Ava, "Vaughn is in custody. Trafficking charges, conspiracy, everything. The case is solid. He's done." Silence stretched across encrypted channel. Then Ava's voice, thick with emotion. "Thank you. You didn't have to do this." "Yes, I did. You saved my life and my team's. You're still fighting for people who don't know you exist. That's worth protecting." "What happens now?" "Now, maybe you consider coming home. With Vaughn gone, network exposed, investigation moving forward, you'd have allies. People who know you were right, who'd stand with you." Long pause filled with considerations. "I've been a ghost 3 years. I don't know if I can be anything else anymore." "You're not just a ghost. You're a soldier who never stopped serving, even when the system failed you. That matters. Maybe. I need time to process, decide what comes next. Keep this channel open. And Harris? Yeah? Tell your team the mountains are safer now. Tell them some ghosts might be ready to stop haunting." The connection ended, leaving Harris in quiet. He looked out at mountains rising in distance, wondering if somewhere in that vastness, a woman was watching same stars and contemplating return from exile. 3 months later, Harris received encrypted message, single coordinates and time. He recognized the location-secure military installation, the kind of place where people were debriefed and reintegrated after deep cover. He arrived to find a woman in civilian clothes being processed, short dark hair showing recent professional cutting, weathered face looking slightly less haunted, eyes that had seen too much but still held determination. She looked smaller somehow, less mythic than the ghost who'd saved his life, more human and therefore more vulnerable. "Lieutenant Harris," Ava Morelli said, offering her hand with uncertainty. "I hear you're good at keeping promises." "Chief Morelli," Harris replied, shaking firmly. "Welcome back from the cold. Welcome home." Behind her, a colonel from military intelligence approached. "We have a lot to discuss, Miss Morelli. Your knowledge of enemy networks, operational experience, intelligence gathered, you're valuable." "I'm a soldier," Ava corrected quietly but firmly. "Not an asset. If I'm coming back, it's on my terms. I work with people I trust, on missions that matter, with full transparency. And if anyone tries to burn me again, they'll go through me first," Harris interrupted. "And my entire team, and everyone who knows what happened, what you did, what you sacrificed. You've got allies now, real ones. You're not alone." She looked at him, Then, the colonel, weighing trust against betrayal, finally nodded. All right, let's see if the system can be better than it was. They walked together toward the administrative building, two soldiers who'd found each other in darkness and chosen to step back into light. Behind them, mountains rose in silent witness, holding secrets of a woman who'd become legend and then, impossibly, chosen to become human again. In official record, Lieutenant Marcus Harris would be credited with exposing major weapons trafficking. Chief Ava Morelli would be listed as returning from deep cover. No mention of 3 years alone, of impossible shots in midnight darkness, of a ghost who chose to save lives. But among SEALs, among soldiers operating in shadows where official records feared to go, the story would be told in whispers. Of a team pinned down by 39 enemy fighters who should have died but didn't, because sometimes angels wear tactical gear and carry rifles, and sometimes the best backup arrives when you've stopped hoping it will come. Harris kept the encrypted communicator, though Wednesday check-ins evolved from survival coordination to actual friendship. They met occasionally for coffee, two veterans processing what they'd seen and done. And on quiet nights, when missions went wrong and darkness pressed close, Harris would remember that canyon, remember the impossible shots, and remind himself that even in worst moments, help might be watching from high ground, silent, precise, absolutely committed to protecting those worth protecting. Some ghosts, he'd learned, were guardians. Some angels fell not from grace, but from systems that didn't deserve them. And some soldiers never stopped fighting, even when everyone believed they were dead, even when continuing meant loneliness and danger and choosing honor over survival. The angel of death had become something better, a protector who proved that one person, operating with skill and absolute conviction, could change outcomes that seemed inevitable, could save lives that seemed already lost, could turn defeat into survival, and survivors into witnesses who tell the story until everyone understood. Not all ghosts are dead,